member of a society, every member of a particular society will all do the exact same thing if you ask them the right question. If you ask them, what is the name of your society, every member of that society will say the exact same thing. Societies have names. In British Columbia, it's the Society of Notary Publics of British Columbia, the Law Society of British Columbia. If you are a member of a society, you will have a card. Your picture will be on it. It will have evidence that you've been paying your dues, and you will be able to tell me the name of your society. Now, if you can't even tell me the name of your society, and you know a statute is a legislated rule of a society which has been given the force of law, and you don't have a society, why do these acts have any force of law over you? Believe it or not, all of these statutes, they are a legislated rule of a particular society which had been given the force of law, but that's the Law Society. All of these rules are the rules for the Law Society, and you can prove it. Only they can make the statutes, the regulations, or the orders. You are not allowed to pen these. If you go into court, they claim that only they may use these documents or these words. Only they can claim complete understanding of these words. Unless you're a member of that society, you cannot understand these words. Why? Because societies have a number of powers. As a society, you can generate and create your own rules, and no one who is not a member of that society is going to have a say in creating those rules. You can claim that no one but a member of that society can understand those rules because you can actually create your own language as a society if you want. And you can do this by taking an existing language, let's call it English, and you can change just a few words, not tell anyone else how those words have been changed, and guess what? You've got an entirely new language that appears to be English, but it's not, and only they know it. And this is the magnificency of the deception. This is why it's so beautiful. When this whole thing unfolds, they think they're going to be fooling God? They think that they're going to lock us up in their cage? No. All they are doing is creating a set of rules that is going to be applicable only to them. We step out of the cage, and all of these deceivers, all of the judges, all of the ignorant cops who refuse to look into the meaning of these words, they're the one bound by these rules, not us. This is what I kind of see it as the wheat and the chaff being separated. We are going to create an opportunity where all of us, all of the good people out there, assuming that I'm one, will be fully and completely free. We can have our abundance, but all the people who've been generating all their revenue, been making a very good living off of this deception, they're going to be stuck with that, paying the income tax. There you can't smoke pot. We can. You're a government employee. We're out of there. And if they ever try stepping out of their little system, the reason, when we all step out, this great big tiger is going to turn into a little kitten. Meow, meow, meow. And the lawyers are going to say, oh, well, you don't need us here anymore. We're going to go over. No, we saw what you did. You tried to make a cage around us. You are part of that cage forever. You stay there. And if you try stepping out of your cage, guess what happens? You're stepping right into our courts. And you're going to face charges of fraud. So you stay in your box, and we're staying in ours. This is why the deception is so magnificent. It's not going to affect us. It's only going to affect all the deceivers, all the judges, all the cops who refuse to, the people who seek benefit at our expense. Oh, payback is going to be a bitch when it comes. And I see it coming. And the reason it's going to have to happen is because we don't even have a society. The way I look at it, the Law Society, the lawyers, they have a proper society. They're making their rules. And if you go and you ask one of these members, is this a law? He can honestly tell you, yes, that's a law. I am bound by that. You will assume that you are too, but actually all he's telling you is all of these rules were created only by members of the Law Society. Who can they lawfully be applied to? Only members of the Law Society and those who begged to be... I'll get that.
Sorry.
No, that's okay, buddy. If you beg for permission, imagine you got a neighbor, your neighbor's got a pool. He tells you, you can have full access to my pool whenever you want. Does this mean you're an owner of the pool? No. Do you have a right to complain and bitch about how much chlorine is in there? No. Can he stop you from digging your own pool? No. And once we start digging our own pool, say, no, thank you, I don't need your court system anymore. I don't need your pool anymore. You put too much chlorine in there, and there's something floating. You get to create your own power, your own situation. This is what they don't like. We're working on developing and starting our own society. You'll all be invited to join. It's going to be called the Freeman Society of Canada. Now, I know women will say, oh, I want to be a free person. The term freeman, the term man, is inclusive. It includes women and men. Right. Although the men used to be called weremen way back when. So when they referred to mankind, they were referring to both types of men. So don't get all sensitive about it and say, oh, it's got to be free person, because then you just blow it all to hell anyways. Yeah, free person. Oh, yeah. I've had people tell me, why don't you make it a free person society so I can join? Because there will be no persons. Now, what I'd like to share with you now is, well, actually using a notary public. The way to deal with the notary public, the directions you're going to be giving them, and it's in our package over here. You will go, these are the directions that I produced, and when he looked at it, he said, okay, fine. And I ended up getting a default judgment, and the only signature on it was the notary's. He wasn't attesting my signature, he was going through it. He is a witness to a process which is evidencing you trying to avoid conflict. We have a lot of remedy given to us by our Savior Jesus Christ. And although I consider him my Savior, I consider him my Savior not because I pray to him and I'm going to get to heaven, but because he has taught me so much about the law. In the Bible it tells you, if you're on your way to court with someone, with your adversary, offer amends before you get to court. Otherwise you can be delivered to the judge, he'll give you to the jailer, and then you'll rot. In the Law and Equity Act, they express that if you offer mediation, discussion, or negotiation prior to court, and the other party refuses, guess what? They've lost. Your goal with the notary public is to take the responsible, adult, mature steps to avoid conflict. You're trying to avoid shit in your pants, no tantrums, and you're not rebelling. You're just being an adult. Step number 1. You will witness the attestation of an affidavit and a notice of understanding and intent and a claim of right. That's his job. He's got to do it anyways. You will open up a file in your office, and therein you will keep all the originals of these documents. He can do that. You will create